Hey, this is the grinder, Mark Shaw, and you're listening to Wrestling with Entertainment.
Dear lovers, this is the real life Cupid, and you're here with Wrestling with Entertainment. Love, Doug.
This is the visionary Von Vertigo, and you're listening to Wrestling with Entertainment.
Hi, this is the Princess of Perfection, Savannah Summers, and you're listening to Wrestling with Entertainment.
What's up, y'all? This is the girl from Ocean Avenue, Kennedy Copeland, and you're listening to Wrestling with Entertainment.
This is the Queen of Voodoo, Mama Shango, and you're listening to Wrestling with Entertainment.
This is the Golden Grappler, Travis Huckabee, and you're listening to Wrestling with Entertainment.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is yours truly, the hardcore princess, Jules Malone, and today you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment.
Hello, 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 and welcome to the show. It's Wrestling with Entertainment, bringing you the latest exclusive breaking news, previewing and reviewing the latest shows from WWE, AEW, New Japan every Saturday, and interviewing all your favorite wrestlers on Wednesday on YouTube and Castbox, sponsored by Rogue Energy. Use promo code WrestlingWithE for 10% off your next purchase. I am, of course, your host, James J., alongside Scooter Dust.
Remember, claustrophobic astronauts, all they need is a little space.
And it's a great day for wrestling, because we are wrestling with Little Miss Perfect, the girl you love to hate, the hardcore princess, Jules Malone. How are you, Jules?
Hey, what's up, everybody? Hi.
How are you today?
You know what? Doing pretty good. Nicely isolated up here in Toronto, Canada. Loving it.
And could you tell us what's coming up next for you?
Well, thank you so much for asking. As a matter of fact, I have not wrestled since March last year because of COVID. So, where I live particularly, it's like the New York of Canada. We have been in lockdowns. We have gyms locked down. So right now, the only things that are coming up are just like media opportunities. That's essentially it. Currently, we are in a lockdown. We have had gyms closed. We have not been able to do anything. We've had province-wide lockdown, stay-at-home orders since for the last 2 weeks, and then everything's been closed out since November. So just very grateful to be invited for interviews and information taken for stories and books. And that's essentially it. So very happy to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Oh, absolutely. The pleasure is all ours. And where can we find you on social media? And can we buy your merchandise as well?
Excellent questions. You can find me on social media. You can find me on Instagram, the Jules Malone, on Twitter at Jules Malone, and also on Facebook. I have Fans of Jules Malone, a fan page. If you're looking for any footage, you just have to Google Jules Malone, and you will find so much information, so much footage. You'll find it on different websites, and then also on YouTube. If you're looking for merchandise, you can definitely visit ProWrestlingTees.com. We all know that lovely website, and so there's a few of my shirts out there. I will be releasing 2 new designs in the coming weeks, so definitely keep your eyes peeled for that.
Ooh, definitely. And all of the links to those, to the Pro Wrestling Tees Twitter, Facebook, all those will be in the description of the video, both on YouTube and Castbox.
Woohoo! You guys make sure you check it out.
Oh, definitely. So let's just get right into it. You're the current PWE Flame Champion, which you've held for 700 days. And you also won the Eclipse Cup, which is primarily a male only tournament. Is that correct?
Yeah, you got that right.
So, could you tell us maybe what it meant to you to win, a primarily male-dominant tournament?
Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, I was very surprised to be invited to participate in that tournament just because of the history of that. And John Murley, the promoter and the owner of Pro Wrestling Eclipse, he said, I want to have you in there. The Hardcore Princess, she's just shown so much. She's shown so much fight. She's shown so much for women and equality. So we're going to make this an intergender event. And so I was right up there with some of my favorite wrestlers. I have never been able to really share a ring with. So then being a part of that was really good. And I had to put our friendships aside and kick some ass. I sure as hell did that. I was like, yeah, we're friends, but fuck all y'all. I'm going in to win, and I did.
And with that, you get a championship opportunity, correct?
Yeah, and that's the most exciting part because as champion, I get to take on any other champion. So I am definitely going to be coming after one of the men because as a woman, I already got the women's title. And I don't plan on losing that anytime soon once we get back to action. And then I'm just going to go, I haven't decided which champion I'm going to go after, but I'm definitely going to make a lot of people worried.
Well, interested to see where that goes.
I can't wait to get them all bloody. That's all I have to say. Poor suckers.
So do you get to pick the stipulation as well?
You know what? Even if I don't get to pick the stipulation, I'm going to make it a stipulation.
Ah, I see.
Just because I have that kind of personality, I'm a little bit unpredictable. It's like predictable, but unpredictable. Am I going to obey the rules, or am I going to make up my own rules? Who knows?
Hey, if you don't get disqualified, then you didn't cheat. We always say that on the show.
And you know what? If you get a little bit of money, you just slip it to the ref. He didn't see anything. A lot of people can be bought. So it doesn't matter. But you know what? I'm pretty sure I'm going to make it. I don't know. I'm decided. I'm probably going to do something very bad. But we'll see what happens. I guess we're going to just all have to wait and see.
Now, Scooter, you have a question?
Yes. Now, going back about your long and storied career, you spent a bit of time with WSU. Now, I started out with the New York Wrestling Connection, the NYWC, back in 2010, 2009-ish. I don't know if I'm even remembering the years correctly, but we did a lot of work with WSU at the time. We had almost basically control of the WSU Spirit Championship at the time. But you competed in the Uncensored Rumble against numerous competitors, but specifically one who I started out with, Nikki Adams.
Yeah, right on.
And believe it or not, someone who I didn't know was a wrestler until I went to my first NYWC show, who turns out I actually went to high school with, Cherry Lane.
Oh, wow. Isn't it funny how things happen?
Very, very funny. Can you give us a little brief summary of your experience at WSU?
Absolutely. I remember being asked to go down there and wrestle, and I was just like, wow, I've been watching this company for a while now, and like, you know, I actually first heard of I wasn't aware of so much as much of the female wrestling promotions just because I just wasn't aware. But then quickly, as I started into professional wrestling, I started learning. I was being exposed because I was meeting other female wrestlers. So very, very quickly upon me getting into my wrestling training, I did learn about WSU. So for me to be asked and contacted about that was just, it was so great. So then, you know, I was given so many opportunities there, traveling, meeting a lot of people, networking, getting to know the fans, the company, the locker room, and then just, you know, I think being able to wrestle for WSU really benefited, jump-started my career. You know, it was great to be a part of like an all-women's company, being able to work with some top talent, like some like really amazing top talent, being able to, you know, show that I was very serious about things, and like, hey, I got to be part of some really great matches. And so definitely I can always say being part of WSU and being part of the roster there, I'll always be very grateful for.
All right.
Yeah.
And we are being joined by our adored co-host, fuck that guy, Kaliko Yachts.
Hi.
Hello. Never get pushed into going to a podiatrist at 3:00 in the afternoon. But anywho, how are you
put your
doing
best
today?
foot forward, right?
Exactly. Well, I had a couple questions, but I'm gonna narrow them down because, you know, everybody's going with the wrestling thing. But the one thing I do have a question is, how does a Canadian become, because we do have the NFL draft, and how does a Canadian become a Dallas Cowboys fan, and the reception of Dallas Cowboy fans in Canada, because they seem to be the most hated team in the United States?
Okay. Well, here's some fun facts. My uncle was part owner of. Have you guys heard of the CFL? It's
Yes.
like the Canadian NFL. So my uncle owned half of the Toronto Argonauts, and
Really?
we're Grey Cup winners. And so when I learned about only CFL when I was younger, so I was like, oh, this is great. And then I learned about NFL because I was like, oh, like these guys aren't the Argos, and so they have very similar. Like the logos and like their uniforms, and so I was like, cool, and they were really good. And so I was like, okay, you know what? I just started noticing them, and then each time I started watching football, I just noticed them, and that's just how it happened. And I love to be a heel. I love it when I like it when I like that people hate, because I'm like, if you don't like it, fight me. So so it's just, they just reminded me of the Toronto Argos, and you know, and they had some really good players. It was cool, and I like the drama behind it. It's like a really good conversation with people because I usually didn't like them.
So my question is, who do you think the Cowboys need to draft this year? What do you think you guys need?
Oh, geez, you know, I can't even answer that question right now. I can message you and let you know. I'll do some serious. I'll think about it. Yeah, I'm a serious analyst. I'll be able to give you something serious. I don't want to just say something because I was asked on the fly. I'd like to do my research.
Oh, because it's funny. My parents are Dallas Cowboy fans, rest their souls, and somehow I became a Falcons fan, and I don't know.
Oh,
I feel like I've been shunned away ever since.
Well, you got 2 against 1.
I know, it's like parents' rule, you know, especially until I got old enough to leave.
Yeah. Sometimes you just have to pretend. Be like, yeah, ooh, go Dallas. Actually, you know what? Back to Dallas. I did a wrestling show, and I think it was, my memory is a little bad. It was just, it was Metroplex Wrestling, and that was in, I might have the name wrong, but that was in Dallas, just north of Dallas. And it was my first time wrestling in that state, so I actually made it down to the new stadium, the Dallas Cowboys stadium. I was so happy because I got to run the field. I almost punted the ball like a kid, but it was so fun because I ran that whole field. I was like, there is nobody that's going to stop me. I was definitely imagining there was a lot of football players around me, but then like reality quickly hit when I almost hit I punted the ball at a kid, you know? So I was like, okay.
Oh, no.
But it was cute because people were like, oh, and this is the cheerleaders thing. I was like, I'm not here. I'm not I love the cheerleaders. Don't get me wrong, but I'm like, I'm more of like the sport type fan, but I love the cheerleaders. I would never shun them.
Oh man, I hope you get the Dallas next year there for Mania. That's because I went to Dallas the first time it was Mania was there, and it's just like, oh my God, floor seats from there is just crazy. So I hope you make it next year.
Woo! Thank you. Yeah, hope so too.
Now, switching back to wrestling, you're a deathmatch wrestler, and that's kind of a taboo word for purists of wrestling. So, what is something that everyone should know about death matches, and what is something that is a misconception about death matches?
I think probably the one thing I'm going to say is I don't think it's everybody's cup of tea. It's not expected to be everybody's cup of tea. You know, like there's always, it's a niche. And so there's some people who can stomach what happens, and there's some people, you know, like there's people who don't like wrestling in general because they don't like violence. And then they'll watch wrestling, a certain brand of wrestling, because that's what they deliver. But then you'll see deathmatch wrestling, and then you'll see, well, they bring things to the extreme. And that could be somebody else's cup of tea. And like it could be, you can have 100% devoted deathmatch wrestlers, and then you can have 100%. And then you have other people who are just like lucha style wrestling. They love Japanese wrestling. They love British wrestling. You know, like there's so many different styles. So it just depends on what appeals to you and the type of personality that you have. And I guess the common misconception is people who aren't trained. Like that's something that I heard, and I was like, I don't think so, because I train my ass off. And I don't know. Or like people are like, oh, it's, you know, I've heard a lot of negative things, and I'm like, you know, I don't see anything negative about it, and I overthink everything, and and I have to be careful because of my profession, and I have to be able to do my job, and have an extremely cerebral job outside of wrestling. So, you know, like there's just a lot of things, and there's a lot of misconceptions. I'm like, I meet a lot of really great people, and like just the things I've heard, it's like it's just like, you know, you take in information, you take in people's opinions, and then you have to analyze the tone. You have to analyze like what type of personality that information is coming from. And then, yeah, so it's not everyone's cup of tea, but it's always something worth checking out. There's different wrestlers who, you know, bring different levels. You know, sometimes people just like to do like the big spots, like the big bumps, and you know, like those are extremely dangerous. There are people who like to use sharps. There's people that used to use things that are a little bit more. I love sharp stuff's so fun. But like, you know, there's people that, you know, they won't do intergender. There's people who will. It's just all in like the eye of the beholder. But it's definitely something worth checking out. I would definitely say that to anybody.
And what is a follow-up question to that? You said it's not everybody's cup of tea. What makes that match wrestling your cup of tea?
Because I love it. I've always been an extremely violent personality. I like blood. I grew up watching horror movies at a very young age. I've had a lot of exposure to violence, and that doesn't necessarily profile the average. You know, I'm just saying, like, this is my personal profile. You know, so I just saw it, I liked it, and I just saw, like, you know, people are really pushing the envelope in a style that appealed to me. I was watching, I remember when I was a kid, I would watch wrestling, and sometimes you would see, like, for example, just off the top of my head, I'd see Ric Flair with a whole bunch of blood on here. I was like, that's so cool, I love that. My dad's just like, no, don't watch it. But it looked so cool. You know, and then I would pop as a kid for like people using weapons. And then in my early 20s, or my late teens rather, I was exposed to ECW, for example. You know, there's a lot of events, but primarily like ECW, because I was right at that phase where I could spend a little bit more time and focus on watching wrestling. And you know, that was just exciting to me. It was super exciting. And then I was also exposed, and people were telling me, oh, you would like this, you'd see this stuff in Japan, you'd see the stuff in Mexico. But at that time, the technology wasn't as advanced, so there was no internet, and so the only thing you'd be able to get is like VHS tapes or even magazines, right? So
Right.
just that exposure and then opportunity, and then like then push comes to shove, I'm no longer, I have become a deathmatch wrestler.
Awesome.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. Stu, do you have a question?
Let's see. Should we continue down the deathmatch road,
Don't
or
forget
should we
the
go
Burger
down
King
any
question.
other? I'll Burger King you, James.
What does that
Okay.
mean? What does Burger King
We
mean?
don't know it. We don't even know what it means.
It's a callback from something we've done together.
Yeah,
Inside joke.
a previous guest was from Australia, and I wanted to ask about Burger King down there because Burger King's down there are not Burger Kings, they're Hungry Jacks.
What?
And I forgot to ask. Okay. We'll continue down the deathmatch route. Is there a deathmatch spot that even you wouldn't do?
Yeah. Okay. I think, I don't know. Is there one that I wouldn't do? I don't know. I think I'd have to be put into the thing. I don't think I would go over a 20-foot bump. You know what I mean? I think I'd have to, like the heights, I'd sort of have to limit myself, only because, I don't know. I don't think I'd go over 20 feet. Sharp stuff, I'm fine with. Exploding stuff is cool. Fire's fine. I would do the syringe thing because that's a sharp. I don't know. I would never do anything that involved animals. Like I've seen things like people involving like piranhas or like there's other stuff that's not like I just don't agree with that. And I'd say probably like an extreme height. I'd say just for self-preservation for myself and my opponent. I'd like to ensure everybody's capable of doing a lot more death matches and not just screwing things because of one spot.
So staple guns to the forehead, completely okay.
I don't mind. I've had my vagina stapled.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. You guys need to watch. Femme Fatale's Queen of the Deathmatch, and then if you watch
NCW, right?
Death Comes for 1 and 2, there's a lot of staple gun action.
I saw the one with Mickey Knuckles.
Yes, I've stapled Mickey Knuckles' vagina twice, and then at both occasions I've lit that because I've stapled a dollar bill. God bless her vagina, but I've stapled a dollar bill and I've lit the dollar bill on fire twice. So yes, I'm no stranger to vaginas being stapled, giving and taking, and I'll definitely do it. And I've also stapled Randy West. Her and I have faced each other a couple times at Death Becomes Her. First time, we did 7 staples. She got 7 staples in me. I got 7 staples in her. You have to watch to see what happened. But, I've stapled her face. I've stapled her head. I have it coming to me eventually. So I don't give things that I won't take.
Ooh.
That's for sure. Because if I give something, that's karma coming right back at me. Not at this time, but eventually.
Speaking of vaginas, this next question has nothing to do with them. Not involving you, what would you say your favorite death match in wrestling history is?
Oh my gosh, that's really hard. That is so hard because I'm such a fan. It's like
top 3,
oh my
top
gosh,
5.
it's like being at like a I don't know, like a champagne tasting competition and trying to like, oh my gosh, I like it all. It's great. But I would say something that would involve exploding barbed wire. I would say something where like a lot of blood is going all over the place. I don't know, the bloodier the better. But then I do like explosions. Yeah, so I'm not going to pick a favorite, but I'd say the favorite type I would say is would definitely have to do with anything really bloody or an explosion.
So more along the lines of FMW in Japan, that sort of stuff.
I've seen some of that. Yeah, that too. But yeah, I don't want to drop any particular names to show any favorites, but those would be the some definite favorite types of matches that I have watched and I absolutely adore.
And really quickly, favorite deathmatch competitor?
Me.
There you go.
I should have seen that coming.
No. Okay, that's so hard too. Oh my gosh, these are really good questions, but
maybe we put a staple in it and come back to it later.
yeah, because I've been able to wrestle so many great people, but then there's so many people beyond. Everybody brings something like really great to the table, and that's what makes them unique. So I'm the worst person to pick favorites. I think it's like, believe it or not, I'm an empath, so I'll overthink things, and I'll be like, oh, I left that person out, and I don't like to do that.
Remember that, James.
So, follow-up question to the deathmatch stuff. Something you wouldn't do in a deathmatch. What's something that you have done in a deathmatch and say, I'm not going to do that again, if anything.
I think I don't know. I think there's nothing. Well, some things really suck. I don't know. I don't think I could take anything back that I wouldn't do, because I think I am more inspired if things didn't go as nicely as I thought. I think I would rather just go in and do it again, just to make it something memorable and make it something good.
All right.
That's for sure. But I have had things where I was hoping to get a little bit more blood, like Crimson Masks, and I'll just be like, okay, I didn't get as bloody as I wanted to, and then I just okay, well, I want to get bloody, or if I haven't gotten my opponent, I love it when my opponent's covered in blood, and I like when I'm covered in blood too. I've had some times where I've missed the mark with stapling somebody because they fought back, and I didn't get to do what I wanted to do.
Why won't they let you staple them?
Because they'll put their boot in my face, and punch is a nice thing. I'll just eat a boot instead of stapling their face or their tongue. Yeah, I know. There's this one time, and it was there was something that I wish we could have taken back, but I did a 13-man deathmatch battle royal for Juggalo Championship Wrestling at the Gathering, and I think there was 5 of us left out of whatever, and I was the only woman, and I was wrestling, or I was fighting at that moment Jesse Amato, and I had him on the top rope. I was on the inside of the ring. He's on the outside. He was trying to do something. I capitalized on him, and then I grabbed him and I chucked him over the rope and then into a shopping cart filled with light tubes.
Oh.
But so I eliminated him, which is very beneficial for me. However, it was an accident, and things didn't happen the way they were supposed to, and that was actually saved by some other people who were eliminated after I got eliminated. So I kind of stole someone's construction project, but it was only at a suggestion by somebody else. So I really wish that didn't happen. I just would have maybe just thrown them onto the floor. So there's that.
Hey, happy accident.
Yeah. And sometimes things just don't break. And then it just really, sometimes I've had things smash me in the head, and it's supposed to break. It's have you ever hit anybody in the head with a beer bottle and it doesn't break? It just really clunks them.
Yeah.
It's so much funner when it breaks. I've had something just hit me. It's so much worse. It can be so much worse depending on the impact and force. But yeah.
Kaliko, you have a question?
Why, actually, I do. You just recently started reading a book called The Thing in the River.
Yeah.
And I was wanting to know, what did you think of the book? And what are some of your I'm assuming horror is some of your favorite genre books, but what is your go-to author when it comes to reading books?
Okay, that's excellent. I actually still have the thing in the river on my table here. I am on. So I know Dan Murphy. He's a good friend of mine. Awesome person. I am on.
Shout out.
Yeah, I'm on page 98. So, yeah, so far so good. It's funny, I think I relate to this book because Dan uses the character named Michelle right at the beginning. So I was like, oh, okay, hello engagement. I'm completely engaged. I'm marking out. And then one of my best friends, like this, one of the other characters, his name is Randall, and that's one of my best friends from childhood. So I was like, hey, I'm reading a book, Randall. It's like, you know, and he's like, oh, cool. And so he ended up getting it. But yeah, so when I was going on to like different authors, Dan Murphy is obviously one of my favorites. But when it comes to other authors, I always like Stephen King and Anne Rice. And then also just even when, yeah, for like horror that and like that type of like the darker stuff, that's probably two that I would like to name. Yeah.
All right. Now you also worked as a manager before you started wrestling. Can you tell us what you learned from being outside the ring that helped you inside the ring later on?
Yeah, absolutely. I started, the way I got my way into the business is I went to a show and there was an indie show out here near Toronto, and there was a female manager and she sucked. I didn't like her. I was like, ugh. And like, you know, I was at that time I was a Muay Thai fighter, but I loved wrestling, and I just found out that there was such a thing as indie wrestling. I'm like, oh my god, I need to go to a show. I'm like, this girl, I was like, oh, I was so excited to see a woman, but she wasn't what I was expecting. Like, I was like a hardcore, like Sherry Martel. I was a hardcore, like Una Bashan, like just to name a few. Like, you know, just like really interactive, really aggressive. That's what I was hoping to see, and that was like my personality. I didn't see that. So after the show, I went up to that promoter and I said, hi, I'm so-and-so. I'm a huge wrestling fan, da-da-da-da-da. I'm also a trained fighter. I was watching this, and I can guarantee you right now, I can do 10 times better than that female manager that you had out there tonight. I said, if you ever have anything at any time, please contact me. I guarantee you I will not disappoint. And he said, cool, we need a heel manager. We need you next weekend in like a different city. And like, your name is going to be Iona Trailer. I was like, that's funny. And so I would have to wear Daisy Dukes and like act like I had to put on a Southern accent and just talk like I was just talk really trashy and just like whatever, just like that was because of the person that I was managing. He sort of like had that type of character, is like, you know, just very, he was just acting like, I don't know, it was just what I was told. And so I was like, I had to ask my friend, I'm like, what the fuck is a heel manager? I'm like, so they're like, oh my god, you're so green. I'm like, what the hell is green? And so so I had to do a crash course for a while, but you know, the first night that I did it, the week after, had really good chemistry. I wasn't shy. I was just telling people off because luckily there was people like Luna Vachon and Sherry Martel to sort of not more so like motivate me or inspire me to become that type of manager. So you know, I got like an idea for how to act backstage, how to act with the big name stars, how to act with like media, fans, etc., how to prepare. And you know, it helped me become more focused and realize that there's this huge world that was so new to me. Like, you know, like growing up, I always wanted to be a wrestler, but I didn't think it was feasible. So yeah, it was really neat. And so at that time also I was making a transition from Muay Thai into some wrestling training, but I didn't officially start up. So I did that for about 4 years, and yeah, that just because of those experiences just gave me like the right amount of exposure. So after I went to university, I knew that I wanted to go and train properly to be a wrestler after I got my education.
All right. Scooter, you have a question?
Yes, I do. All right. You now a little bit ago, the wrestling world unfortunately lost a great performer in Danny Havoc. And you have had the privilege of competing with him. Can you speak to what that experience was like and what Danny was like and if he taught you anything?
Yeah, that's it. Okay. Yeah, being able to work with someone like Danny Havoc was an absolute privilege. I was aware of who he was before I was actually paired up with him, because we actually got to tag together for the Queen and King of the Ring tournament. That was WSU CZW, and you know, after we got teamed up, we actually we carried on a conversation, just but to go back, just he had so much. He was so intelligent, so artistic. He had such a good passion when it came to wrestling, helping others. His creativity in everything that he did for shows for different companies. He really raised the bar for young wrestlers, deathmatch stars too. He was a talented wrestler to begin with. So he had that versatility. So being able to pick his brain, get some courage, was always great. And so each time I came down to Jersey, it was just really nice to see him and watch his matches and watch the other guys. And yeah, honestly, like, the world is missing him, and I definitely miss the hell out of him. But rest in peace to my friend, and he'll always have a wonderful legacy. He left a legacy. He left such great spirits here. So yeah, we all love Danny Havoc. It was just, honestly, I'll say it again, it was just like an honor being able to be his friend and talk to him about, or just be wrestling friends also.
All right. Now, Kaliko, you have a colossal question you want to ask?
Yeah, because this is going to be very intriguing. I want to know, because considering based on your career, if they were to do a soundtrack of your wrestling career, what would be the first 3 songs you would pick that would best resemble your wrestling career?
It would have to probably be under the gabber and hardstyle genre. I would probably have to say a lot of Anger Fist and DJ Poison.
Yeah.
I listen to high BPM type music, and a lot of it's underground and European.
Whoa, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
She's like ball to the wall and life. That's what I'm talking about. 100 pounds. 0 to 100.
Toronto.
Real quick. Word to Drake.
Well, that's 2. You gave us 2. We need a third.
What was that?
Oh, you gave us 2 artists. We need a third.
Let's see. Who would I include? Who do I know that I would like to include? I would probably have to say something from my boys down here from Black Crown.
All right.
They're Toronto/Canadian artists. They are hip hop and drum and bass. So you have a lot of my boys in there. And if you actually look up some of their stuff, I do a cameo in one of their videos.
Oh, awesome.
Oh, that's what's up. I knew it wasn't going to be Drake. He's too emo.
I'm part of killing somebody, so it's kind of cool. We're so gangster. What's that?
How did that come about?
I just know a lot of people. They're like, "Hey, we need you for a music video." I was like, "Sweet."
That's what
And
I'm
like,
talking about.
like somebody, and I said, "For real?" or like, "Whatever, I'm down." But like, it's fake, right? Cool. So yeah, it was fun. It was neat. It's just, yeah. People just asked me because like before I got into wrestling, I was very big and like I was very active in like the sort of like music, but underground music industry, and just promotion and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a little tidbit of my past.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Dang, she's a big human networking machine right here.
Oh. Yep.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong here, but did you wrestle under the name Princess Pete's?
Yeah. 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 At the beginning of my wrestling career, right when I started my full-on wrestling training, I was asked to do a show with there's a guy. He's another wrestler. He's a friend of mine. His name is Buck Gunderson. He's a sweet wrestler, and he said, "Hey, Jules, do you want to be a part of this anime show?" And I said, "Okay." I'm not ready to wrestle yet. And he's like, "Well, that's cool. You got to dress up like Princess Peach." I was like, "Fucking sweet, okay." And he wrestled as Mario, and so I came out as his manager, and like that gained a little bit of like confidence. But like I gave some guy, I took a power bomb. I was put up on a power bomb by this guy that was wrestling as Zangief. Mario throws a fireball in my face at Zangief, and then I go down, wearing heels, like big huge mess, a lot of fun stuff. And then I also wrestled a guy named Darko that's at a show called what was it? Anime North, and that was also Buck Anderson. He was also wrestling as Mario. But I got to do my first, one of my first singles matches, intergender, with this guy, Anthony Darko, and I think he was Wario or Evil. That was like Luigi. But he was. Yeah, he's a vet. You can definitely find this match on YouTube. It's funny because. Yeah, that was an interesting match because everything was on the fly. I was like, "Are you shitting me?" he's like, "So, what can you do?" And he's like, "Cool." And I was like, "What?" And we had a 20-minute match. And I was like, "Don't ever do that again." But it was actually, we have really good chemistry. He was like, "Honestly, that was a really fun match." But wrestling as Princess Peach is so much fun. I've done it before too. It was all for Anime North.
That is awesome.
Yeah, I like wrestling in different costumes. I've done it. I don't know. If you give me a costume, if you give me a character, I will I'll study what they do and I'll do the moves. Sometimes I'll do. Do you guys, like Halloween movies, like Michael Myers?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I've done Michael Myers. I paint my face white and I wear the thing and I will move around like Michael Myers and do all the stuff, and it's kind of fun because you get to scare children. I love that.
Now, Scooter has 2 questions for you that's exclusive for Canadians from Canada.
Sweet. Hope I can answer that.
As it may be from anywhere else. Now we're foodies. I'm a big foodie. I should know my cholesterol is way too high. So the question is, and I know this might play into a little bit of a Canadian stereotype, but we mean no disrespect in it. Poutine.
Yeah.
Where is the best you've had? And
yeah, definitely poutine is the best when it's in Quebec. They are the masters. There's nothing that's really going to come second to that, especially like anywhere particularly. But yeah, it's definitely in Montreal. I've had like several times some of the best poutine. You just keep it old school. Like in downtown Toronto, we have like poutineries. We have Mr. Poutine. We have chains that are strictly poutine. There's even a poutine pizza at some place. Yeah, so yeah, poutine is nothing's going to be anything, like just the plain old poutine from Montreal.
All right. And the next question is not food related, but I always had to ask because I always wonder, is Ryan Reynolds truly Canada's greatest national treasure?
No, I am.
Bravo!
The name is Jules for a reason. I am Canada's national treasure.
Answer ever.
Yeah.
Now
Right.
that's an answer. What's more better than a jewel?
Yeah.
Sorry, Drake.
2 jewels. No, that's why it's plural.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it goes.
Oh, not the writer jewel.
She's a Canadian.
Alaska doesn't count.
So, piggybacking off the food question, pineapple on pizza, what's your stance?
You know, I hate it. I really do. But if I'm in the company of someone that I respect and I can't quite tell them like that's really fucking gross, I will just say I'll be polite. I won't pick it off anymore because I think I would make a lot of rude faces. But I'll eat it and then just hope that they have dipping sauce. But I would not order it on purpose. Like, no. But I don't liking it. It's just like not for my palate. Nope.
Alright.
She almost went on a Masha tangent.
Almost. She almost got there.
Yeah.
Now, who's your spirit Pokemon?
I don't want no. I don't do Pokemon. If anything, I'd be one of the bad guys that tried to kill Pokemon. Does that happen?
So you're Team Rocket.
No, I was too busy studying.
Oh.
Why do I love that answer more than any answer we've ever gotten for that question?
What? Yeah. Fuck Pokemon.
I'd rather kill the Pokemon.
Because it was fuck Pokemon. That's why.
Yeah. Wait. No, like I guess they're okay. Like I don't know. I can't. No.
And would you ever? And this is
like I have a twerking unicorn. I have a twerking unicorn. Like that's not a Pokemon. That's just a fucking twerking unicorn. That's more badass than a Pokemon.
Damn right. Because everyone loves twerking.
Yeah.
Especially me.
Wait, no, it's not a unicorn. I'm such a liar. It's a twerking alpaca.
Okay.
I think it's even better.
Yeah.
Does it spit?
You had me at twerking.
He falls. I don't know.
Now, and this is probably the weirdest question you'll ever be asked. Would you ever consider wrestling a Rock? Not Dwayne Johnson, Scooter.
Not the country.
An actual Rock.
Why would I know? I would wrestle using a rock and whip it at someone's head or curb stomp someone's face into it. Right?
Well,
but I don't think I would find a rock and fight. Actually, you know what? If I don't know, if it was like an anime thing and like someone's like, hey, this is the best idea I came up for a costume is a rock, I'd be like, well, okay, I guess I'll fight you, but that'll be easy. It's like one drop kick and like I'll tie you to the ring post.
No, we're talking a regular old, like tiny hideaway key rock, no googly eyes or anything.
Oh, I'm not fighting a stupid rock.
just
Psycho Mike is like, yeah,
just for context, there's this guy named Psycho Mike that wrestled a Rock for over 15 minutes in what was billed as a Fortnite Iron Man match. An Iron Man match that lasts 2 weeks.
Okay, I'm going to say something about Psycho Mike. He is such a good freaking wrestler. Canadian, lives not too far from Toronto. Okay,
Yes.
That guy is so good. He is so good. He can make a match with The Rock. I will tell you that right now. I've seen him wrestle a blow-up doll. I have seen him he will go and he will just wrestle a dummy and he will make that damn match. He is honestly, he's such a good wrestler, and he would have a friggin' stellar match. I did not know about that, but yeah, he is such a good creative wrestler, and yeah, for sure.
He had 2 incredible matches with a Rock. And he wrestled himself. I mean, like, is there literally nobody who
he
can
could do that.
wrestle in Canada?
Yeah, he is so talented. Like, he could just do anything. And like, I just remember when the first time I watched him wrestle, I was like, oh my God, he is so engaging. He is such a believable wrestler, and just the talent and the creativity. I'm sure he does everything on the fly. And he's a really nice person, and he's funny as hell too, just in person.
Right,
So yeah, if there was a match, I would definitely leave wrestling a Rock to Psycho Mike, and I would definitely back that guy up, no problem. Just not Jules Malone.
Kalika, you have any last questions you want to ask?
One more. Considering that Canada has been on lockdown for, it seems like forever, especially with professional wrestling, do you feel that the Canadian wrestling scene would have to work twice as hard to catch up to the international wrestling scene that's kind of been going as the pandemic hit?
I think the smartest thing for wrestlers themselves, I think the companies themselves, I don't think that they necessarily have catching up to do. I don't think they're going to lose their fan base. But I think for a lot of the wrestlers, I know that they're keeping up with working out, but it's not the same. So I think it might take a little bit of time to get themselves back into prime performance. But I think everybody is also, I would hope that everybody is smart enough to be kind and sensible to themselves as they reintroduce themselves. But it's like riding a bike. You just have to, I think a lot of it's just strength training, conditioning. And I think most people are smart enough to go into training and perfect their craft, and everyone's going to have that ring rust, and nobody wants to get hurt the first 1, 2, 3 times that they get back into the ring. So I think there might be a little bit of a lag, but not that much, because at the end of the day, wrestling is always going to be there. It's just a matter of time when you want to jump right back into it and just be smart.
All right. Now, it is once again time for that segment. Jules Malone's Bizarre Adventure. You're a wrestler that goes up and down the road, and weird, crazy, and bizarre things are bound to happen. Can you tell us a story that fits that description?
Can you please explain that to me again? I couldn't hear you for some reason.
What's a weird, crazy, or funny road story that you could tell us?
Oh, did I already tell it? Wait, I can retell the story of my first tour, if you'd like me to repeat that.
Sure, why not? That was an on-air that you know of.
Okay, sweet. Okay, so this is going back like 8 years ago. I was on my first tour for Legend City Wrestling, and that is in Newfoundland. And I was on this tour. In my presence was Caitlin Diamond, another Canadian wrestler. It was day 1. We had 30 people around us, and this was going to be something that was televised. There's a lot of media attention, very live. And also there was, people that you're going to hang out with for the entire tour, and that was Jake the Snake Roberts, hell yeah, and Ted DiBiase, hell yeah. So at that time, I was not doing the hardcore stuff. I was Jules Malone, the wrestler. And so they're like, okay, everybody, like I was babyface. They're like, okay, we want you to send a message. It's going to be on commercials. Just say, hi, I'm Jules Malone. I'm here to empower women. I'm here to prove that women can wrestle just as hard as the boys. And I'm like, just something like that. So I said, okay, no problem. I know what I'm going to say. So the lights, everyone's really quiet. They're watching me because, of course, we had to go first. Lovely. So I said, hi, everybody. I'm Jules Malone, and I'm here to fuck. right? And so I was like, oh shit, oh my god! So in front of Jake Roberts, one of my heroes, and Ted DiBiase, who was another one of my heroes from when I was a child, and I just met them 30 minutes ago. Because there's another story about that, but I just met them, and then everybody I've just met, and I'm like, oh my god! And Ted DiBiase is a religious man, and I just said, I'm here to fuck, and I said, oh dear God. And so that was the thing. And so, like, you know, for like most of the tour, like, hey, they'd be like, fuck. I was like, thanks a lot, motherfucker. Like, yeah, it was just like, so that's like the best way to make a first impression in front of two Hall of Famers on your first tour in front of like a lot of people. And I'm trying to be a prime example for young girls in Canada.
That's eerily similar to a public broadcasting commercial here. A children's show host with a puppet was doing a commercial for the pledge drive, and the puppet was talking to him, and the puppet asked, "What's the pledge drive?" And the host goes, "That's when we ask our children's mommies and daddies to fuck. What's the line?"
It's so funny because you know we're not all goody two shoes, and you know what? After a few Red Bulls, there's a plug, Red Bull. You know, you got a lot of energy, and so you're gonna forget. That's great. I love that. I love
Speaking of
story
energy,
puppets.
Rogue Energy sponsors Wrestling with Entertainment.
Yeah. Oh yeah, like that. You know, you should probably play that part right there. Like that's a prime example.
Now,
that's in the clip.
now you did say during that story that you met Jake the Snake and Ted DiBiase 30 minutes before that, and that was a completely different story. Don't tease us like that. Tell us the story.
Yeah. So essentially, because I don't know, I was up and I was doing phone calls, going outside and whatever, and so Jake Roberts first thing in the morning, 'cause we're going to leaving the hotel and whatever. So promoters just like gathering like some of the talent, and so I was like, oh shit. I was going to Caitlin and I was like, oh my god, no shit. I'm like, oh, marking out, I'm gonna just do this right here, right now. I will not do that in front of them. I'm not doing that in front of them. I'm so excited right now. And I was like, whoo, I got this. And I was like, hello, how's it going? Right? And so Jake's looking at me and he's like smiling, and I was like, he's like, so what blonde, bubbly, young wrestler was out at 11, 12, 1, and 2 outside drinking beer? And I was like, oh my god, because like he totally called me out for like drinking outside and just being up late. Like I was excited. I got so much sleep, right? I napped during the day, and yeah, I was fucking drinking. And don't worry, there was lots of time. It was like, obviously I wasn't getting drunk, but I was like, whatever. So I was like, all right, now what WWE Hall of Famer was out staring out his window at 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, or what have you? And he's like, touche. I was like, that's right. It's like, you called me out, I'm calling you out. This is how this goes.
You know, I thought maybe for a minute Jake might chastise you for drinking to begin with.
No, because it was casual beers. It wasn't like getting drunk. Like it was just we had beers in our hands. It's not like we were like doing the shot thing. It's just like we're having beers. We were just drinking beer. Yeah, so it's so funny because he was Jake at that time. I'm not going to say too much, but he was definitely in a wonderful spot. So
oh, well, that's great.
Yeah. So he didn't give me shit. He was just like, I was like, hey, that was the same beer the whole damn time, maybe. Like we only bought a 6-pack and there was 2 of us. But yeah, so it was just pretty funny, and so I knew like that would set the tone. It just sort of like really calmed things down. So yeah, good experience all around.
I'm honestly surprised DiBiase's first instinct wasn't to like go with it and just start making it rain.
Oh, yeah, for sure, right?
Now,
DiBiase, a good person.
on a more serious note, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Super famous. No. I think within the next 5 years, I would like to see myself extremely proud and content of everything I've accomplished over the last 5 years. I would love to see myself, like I have been a part of wrestling for a long time and, well over a decade. So maybe I would have just finished my wrestling career and then just transferred over to training, mentoring, taking a step back and just helping others and motivating others in the wrestling industry. Maybe I would still love to be on screen or just even in the back helping with like management, helping develop people, like, focusing on cameras. So I definitely in 5 years would have done everything I could have as a wrestler and then just passing the torch and just enlightening people and helping other people become really good wrestlers based on my past experiences.
All right, awesome.
Yeah.
And what is a match people should go out of their way that best shows off what Jules Malone is all about?
Oh, that's so hard. I think probably some of the, I think they should check out, I don't know, they should just go in and Google my name and then just look at what they want to just check things out because I've wrestled for so many different companies. Even in like Europe, so it's so hard to say. I just say, just Google me, look up Jules Malone wrestler, and then look up Jules Malone Deathmatch. And just depending on what you're looking for, just Google like the type, and there's just gonna be so much out there. I've been blessed to be part of British Empire Wrestling over in Spain. I wrestled for RCW. You'll see stuff from WSU. You'll see stuff from Smash Wrestling here in Canada, Femme Fatale, Shimmer, Rise. There's just so many different companies. So it just depends on what you're looking for. Did I say Title Match Network? I did some stuff there too. So it's just take your time, check out a few matches. Hope you enjoy.
My personal would probably be either against G Raver or your match with Pretty Ricky.
Oh, Pretty Ricky. That's so funny. He's a fun person to wrestle because it's so awkward. Like his music. It's so hard to have a wrestling match with Pretty Ricky because I can't take him. I take him seriously as a wrestler and a person, but his music comes out and just Pretty Ricky as a wrestler. And he's such a good wrestler too, but he'll say some of the funniest stuff and I just can't. I just can't. But then also G Raver, I love wrestling him. We are definitely gonna have another match. Need to have at least one or two. I love that. I love the fact that he stabbed a bunch of tattoo needles in my head. It's great, But we had that was a lot of fun. That was a cool match. That was at Championship Wrestling from Ontario, and that's one of my the local wrestling companies that I work for here in Toronto.
And I really like that your answer. Just Google me and find what best suits you for. That's yeah. I'm thinking that.
Because you might see someone that I wrestled or oh, that looks like a good setup. People might like to see big shiny lights. So you know what, they might see that, or they'll be like, oh, I prefer the Smash Wrestling product. Oh, I prefer the Shimmer, the Rise product. I want to see something international. I want to see something deathmatchy, or just something random because sometimes people do some pretty interesting stuff and make little collections. So. There's that. But Championship Wrestling from Ontario is one that I've wrestled at a lot in the last couple of years. So, whatever floats your boat, just check it out. It's definitely always going to be something new and interesting.
I'll just always remember, I can't hit her. She's too beautiful.
Suck it. No, yeah. I'll fight them. They're like, well, if you say too many words, I'm just going to punch you in the face.
Now, since we're nearing the conclusion of this interview, we are wrestling with the 8 questions of doom.
ABC. No actual doom to be incurred.
This is our bonus round, our speed round. The round where we find out who you really are, Jules. Are you ready?
Sure. What kind of questions are you asking?
Quick fire questions. Although the first two, please feel free to pass on.
It's cool. I'll just definitely do something random. I just won a contest on the radio and I just gave wrong answers, so let's do it.
Excluding yourself, greatest wrestler of all time.
Undertaker.
All right. Worst wrestler of all time.
That guy.
See, you, James.
Well, I'm
Shows you.
I'm not the wrestler here.
The guy that never wrestled. That's it. The worst wrestler of all time was the guy that never gave it a shot.
All right. Good answer. You're main eventing WrestleMania for the Women's Championship. Who is your opponent?
Who was my what?
Who is your opponent?
Oh. Charlotte.
If you could come out to anyone's entrance music, past or present, who would it be?
Big Shows. Because I'm 5'3".
Finish the sentence. Kayfabe is...
None of your business.
That is awesome.
Nice. We also would have accepted is quite good on toast.
Oh. Touche, my friend. Touche.
Squash. Fruit or vegetable?
It's terminology when you get your ass kicked in a wrestling match.
You know what? I think we're gonna start accepting that answer.
I will accept that answer.
Yeah.
New Japan wrestler Taichi, his ring gear gets smaller every year, revealing more of himself to the world. My question, what is the appropriate trunks to butt cheek ratio for ring gear?
Oh, I'm going to have to say 42 to 21, or 21 to 42.
All right.
I don't think we've
do the
ever
math.
gotten a specific number. That's basically half and half at that point.
And the last question, the main event, the thing everybody wants to know. Have you ever had a conversation with a stranger in a supermarket about Darby Allin?
About what?
About Darby Allin.
Fuck no.
And that is the correct answer. That will conclude our interview for tonight. Thank you so much, Jules, for coming on and doing this with us.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It was honestly, I had a blast talking to you guys. You guys were so much fun.
Oh, thank you so much for that. And we would love to have you back on again.
Oh, thank you. You know what? Honestly, I would love to. After COVID's over, we can definitely share what's coming up.
Ooh. Yeah, I would love that.
Yeah.
And once again, where can we find you on social media and merchandise and the whole shebang?
Yeah, you can definitely find me on social media. Again, on Instagram, the Jules Malone. You can get me on Twitter at Jules Malone. On Facebook, fans of Jules Malone. And like I say, just Google me. You'll find me on YouTube, anywhere on the internet, and play along, do some random research. And when you're looking for merchandise, you can check out ProWrestlingTees.com, and in a few weeks I'm going to be releasing a few new t-shirt designs, but it's definitely going to be hardcore, so definitely stay tuned for that.
All right, and all of the links will be in the description of the video below. Give this girl a follow, and you've been listening to her for an hour. Buy a damn short.
Yeah.
And if you like what we're doing, please like, subscribe, comment both on YouTube and Castbox. Join us this Saturday for our preview review show. And
You-
join us next Wednesday for another interview. Of
You-
course,
And thank you so much, guys, for listening. You people who are listening, thank you so much.
yes, absolutely. And of course, this episode was sponsored by Rogue Energy. Use promo code Wrestling with E for 10% off your next purchase. And if you want to follow the show on Twitter, find out the news and happenings at Wrestling with E, both on Twitter and Instagram. You can follow me at JamesJ993. Kaliko dropped out for some apparent reason, but you could find him at I am Kaliko. And where can they find Scooter?
Of course, you can find me opening up my new restaurant here in New York City. It's called Karma. There's no menu. You just get what you deserve. And you can find me on social media, on Twitter at Scooter Dust, and holding it down for the UNB network at UNBS Wrestling.
Ooh, that sounds really good. I'll definitely check out that place.
It is not
Believe in
real
karma.
yet. It's not real yet.
You might have an investor right here.
Yeah.
For our very special guest, Jules Malone, Kaliko Yachts, Scooter Dust, I'm James Shea, and this has been Wrestling with Entertainment.